Hi, grade 12s. I hope you're doing well. It's been really nice to see you guys working in Moodle. One thing I really like about Moodle is I can tell when people have logged on and which resource they've looked at, what activity they've done, etc. So some of you are really, or most of you are keeping really good handle on what needs to be done and taking care of it. There are a few that are starting to lag behind, and I am concerned about that. We do have a reduced workload given the situation, but it is expected that you do stay along with us in the assignments as they are assigned. Otherwise, it will lead to stress as things starts building, and it will also create some disjointedness as far as for yourself experiencing the course. So important to stay on track of things as much as you can, and looking forward to seeing your presentations in or on your totalitarian dictatorships coming up here on Wednesday. So I'm just going to go through a couple of changes that I have done on Google, or excuse me, on our Moodle. So at the top, I just want you to be aware of, first of all, that you can interact with anybody through private messaging. So if you come on here and there's a little red number here that says one or however many messages there are, then it means that you have messages. So then you would click onto it and you'd be able to see which messages that you have, and then you can click onto it and interact with them. So I sent a message to every single student. If you can please respond. Most people have already, and a lot of people have been using some back and forth dialogue. So it's really good for real-time communication. So when I'm logged on, and you can see who's logged on at any given time, I've added this here, you can communicate with any person just by clicking on their name and real-time have conversation. So whether it's me or your peers. So just something to consider there. Another thing that I have added in here is this question section. So I'm just going to click into this discussion forum that says questions from students. So this was one that Laurel had started asking me in a private chat, and then I thought that others could benefit from the response too. So I just pasted her response in our conversation that we had here from our chat. But in the future, if you have a question that you would normally ask in a whole classroom context, please post it here. Then I can respond to the question and others can benefit from the answer too. So if you have a question that you think that others would benefit from, please just add a new discussion topic, put the name of your question and then explain it and then post a forum, and then I will look at it, of course, and respond. And you guys can respond to each other too. So it's a way to help each other out. Going back to the main course here again. Something else that I have added or I've started to use as an announcement section. So there's some things that are in here already. So please make sure that you are looking at them. So I've got a late assignments to date and a message about that. So please click into there. I have a message, how's everyone doing so far, that I posted on Friday. And it seems like days ago to me. So I guess that's only been 2 days. No one's responded though. So I do want feedback from everyone in here. Please give me a bit of feedback, because that's one thing that you do really need online. You absolutely have to give that feedback, so that each other knows how we're doing. And then update on diploma exams is there too. So please make sure you're reading that. And I'll put any important information here. So it's super important that you're coming to the announcement section once a day and just checking it out. Back to our main page again. The other thing that I changed is, as you guys know, I originally had this set up more as a teachery place. I didn't really use it to teach from as far as having online kids. So I just changed the way that I formatted it a bit so I don't end up with this big scroll-a-thon that is already starting to happen. So this I'm not going to go back and change because that's already done and I do use that every year. But what I have done is clean this up, and this will be the format that I will do going forward. So rather than a whole bunch of links going on for 1 week and all the activity 1, 2, 3, 4, all taking up and clogging the space in the middle, instead I'm going to be using books. So I've already taken everything that you guys did last week and I stuck it into this digital book. And then once you open that digital book, you'll see the table of contents appear. And then whatever's here is what you are on the table of contents that's bolded. And so these are all the different pieces. Keep in mind this discussion forum post from last week I closed because I deleted it by accident as I was moving stuff around. So I'm sorry about that, but I really appreciate the 9 students that were in there engaged with what they knew about authoritarianism already. You guys were right on the money and doing really well. And I did respond to everybody. So hopefully you had read that. But you'll just see it'll have activity 1, 2, 3. And then as you go through, it'll have the same information that I had on the main pages, but just in a much more, it's not going to clog our main page as much. So again, everything's linked. I have set up these links too so that every single link that is posted on here will open up in a new page so that you can just close it. And you're not having to go back a button all the time or close out. Nothing worse than when you're in a web page and you close the X and then you're out of the whole website and have to start all over again. So I've just tightened that up. So here you can see all the different activities that were going on last week. Okay. Okay, so just going further down to our section here where we are currently working. So I also want to draw attention to how I have the resources staggered. So these are very purposeful. So on the side, left justified, you will always see the week one, week two, it'll say week three, week four, etc. as we progress through the course. Anything that is to the furthest to the right are action items or assignments that are needing to be done that are also linked within these books. So whether you access the turn in or the discussion forums or whatever it is through the book links, it links to the same place. So it doesn't matter. But I did decide to leave these out on their own so that you can make sure that you know what action items or assignments need to be done. So that's what's going on there. The book that you may see in the middle or resources in the middle will be in the middle section between the assignment and the overall week at a glance assignments and learning activities, et cetera, and lessons, et cetera. So just so you know how it'll be formatted. So I'm just going to go into week number 2 book now here. So you can see March 23rd to the 30th. Once you click in there, at a glance, I have just a quick little what's going to be happening for each day of the week or where you should be at the end of this week. So the first thing is, so I'll just go down the table of contents here. So first activity for this week is to continue working on completing your totalitarian projects. So you're working on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday, they must be loaded up and linked into the presentation forum, which is linked here. So make sure that you are putting it into the proper section and posting your link. Please, 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 please make sure that your link has been changed so that anyone with a link can view. It's under advanced settings. And it's so frustrating when people share work and then you can't access it. And especially when it's our presentation format, we want to make sure that that has been dealt with. So please make sure you have done that. So that is taking place for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then when you get to Thursday, which would be activity 2, on Thursday and Friday, what you will be expected to do is have that T-chart handy that we looked at with activity number 3 last week. And you've already got the definitions down the middle, but now what you're going to be doing is filling out, so I'll just pull that up really quickly. So now what you're going to be doing is um, filling out the different examples for Stalin and Hitler with the different totalitarian methods. So last week you guys had filled in just the definitions for what all these things are. Now as you're looking at different people's presentations, you're going to put specific examples of how Stalin did scapegoating. What did that look like? What were some specific examples of propaganda, indoctrination, etc.? So here we're looking for very, very, very good, clear examples of these things in action, both in communist Soviet Union as well as fascist Germany. So after you're done the presentations, you should have some really good examples to put in here. And you can also use your text to supplement too. So it'd be chapter 5 for dash ones and chapter 7 for dash twos. Then this column here is for you to do on your own. You're not going to necessarily get too much out of the presentation, depending if you're looking at a dash 1 or dash 2 assignment. It may change too. But here what you're looking for is, I want your own ideas. So both of them rejected liberalism to different extents. What principles of liberalism did each reject? And be specific about that. And you can even draw attention to some of these things up above here, which is what I'm hoping you will do. And then there are some principles of liberalism that weren't fully rejected by fascism. Which were they? And then give what those exceptions might be. So for all of the 6 different prices, and I want you to know that acronym, but I want you to just think about, the private property, the rule of law, individual rights and freedoms, competition, economic freedom, self-interest. So think about those things as far as how did they reject each one of those, or did they? So that is something I'm looking for, just in very quick jot notes, but just quick examples. Okay, so that is the T-chart that you're doing as you're looking at each other's presentations. So now I'm going to go back to where I was initially here. Okay, so then once you have looked at everybody's project, I also want you to go in onto their project links once they have them linked and reply to them. Give them positive feedback, give them some kind comments, ask some questions. I definitely want you to engage with them. Okay, so it's super important, especially with the online community, that we have interaction between students and showing positivity towards one another and encouragement. So please make sure that you're doing that. So it doesn't have to be like a long convoluted response, but please have some words of wisdom, some comments, etc. Okay. And then the last thing that you will need to be working towards this coming up week or during this week is just to make sure that those T-charts are due or done. And so they will be due from Monday, March 30th, and they are handed in via this assignment link that I have here. So you'll be able to sign them in. This is what it looks like from the teacher standpoint, but from your side, it'll show that you can turn it in. So that will be due for Monday. So it's not a really crazy week. I've actually intentionally done it that way to try to get some people caught up who have been absent. Anyways, everyone should be where they need to be. And if you want, you can also turn in that completed T-chart this method too. So again, they're both linked to the same thing. So you just decide which way works for you. So if you have any questions at all, you know how to reach me. Please, please, please make sure that you're doing the assigned work and anything I'm asking you to do. And if you have anything you want to post in the discussion forum, please go for it too. Take care, everybody.